Hi, welcome to Thursday's Child. I'm Sandy.
I'm Rick, and this is Maddie.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm home from college, and you may see me a bit on the channel over the summer, but I'm mostly going to be helping with editing and scripting behind the scenes. Back to my parents.
Okay, so it's been a while since we've posted anything, and so sorry about that. But we've been going through a really difficult time with Richard and medications. And often with medications and medication changes, the tinkering is not a perfect science. And so you make changes, you see reactions that you weren't expecting, and it can sometimes have really horrible results.
And we've been dealing with this for, pretty much all of Richard's life in varying different forms. But last year, specifically last September, we decided to bring in a new neurologist to help us out with the issues of tuberous sclerosis patients that have to do with what the acronym TAND is, and we'll put that in the lower third. But essentially, it is what I would describe as all of the bad or undesirable behaviors that sort of come as a part of living with tuberous sclerosis.
So for the last 2 months, we've been going through some pretty serious medication changes, and the hope was that at the end of that, we would get to a place where Richard was able to function more as himself and have some of the fuzz in his brain sort of cleared so he could think better, and maybe some things would become easier for him, specifically some of his anxiety, his OCD, his ADHD, which sort of combine in a toxic alphabet soup and make it hard for him to do the basic things that he has to do for daily living.
So about 7 months ago, we began this particular journey by starting to cycle off some of the medications that he'd been on, some for a few years, some for many, many more years. And that was actually going very, very well up until probably about 2 months ago, when we had hit a really, really sort of nice, or at least nice for us, point that his behavior was more under control than we'd seen in some time. And then as we continued with the journey, we kind of fell off the wagon.
So you might be wondering what that looks like. It looks like things that get very scary. So he started self-injuring more, causing wounds on his hands, his arms, his face, pulling nails off. To be really honest, it can get very rough and scary for him, scary for us. And just a huge challenge, which brings us to the point that, medication isn't a catch-all solution for everything that these children go through. Richard's range of neuropsychiatric issues is fairly broad, and so nothing is ever going to be perfect. But we think we finally have come out of the end of that and gotten to a place where he's stable again. We have realized that there is no perfect, so what we're left with is stuff that probably we can't solve, at least not right now. So what does that look like? He's a little more activated, so he's very talkative and a little bit hyper. And you might say, well, there are plenty of things that can be done for that, but really for him, it's such a balancing act that we have to be sort of happy with what we've achieved and put up with what we can't seem to touch right now. The other thing that is actually a little funny is that he's started doing stealth decorating. At least that's what we call it. So we'll come downstairs and he'll have put all of the furniture in the living room in one corner, or he'll take a rocking chair and lift it up and put it in the corner of another room, and then pile all of our shoes right next to it for reasons that we just haven't been able to figure out. He has his own science and his own art to it, and we don't really understand what that is. But maybe there's a future profession in there.
Right. So the thing about dealing with medications is that when you're working with your medical team, and we talked about in an earlier video about assembling your team and how important that is, but it's basically in many cases an experiment, because neuropsychiatric drugs they have benefits essentially to the specific patient, but they may operate differently in your loved one. And, we've got literally all of these different things that we depend on and that we have tried over the years. And there's about half a dozen different medications that he has been on or off and currently take. It's difficult. It's difficult to find the right balance. And you might think it's like, well, maybe you shouldn't be trying all of these things. Maybe he should be better off of them. Trust us, you don't want to see our son off of all of these medications. We actually got to a point where during this particular journey, where we had discontinued a lot of things. And from a mood stabilization standpoint, it was pretty bad, and we had to backtrack to about where we are now.
So this is sort of a journey, so it'll be continued in other videos. Next time we'll probably show you the video from our trip to Boston, where there was a conference that we attended that was focusing specifically on these TSC-associated neuropsychiatric disorders, TAND. They also focused on transition issues with older kids with TS who are transitioning out of the school system. So we'll probably talk more about that too in a subsequent video, but stay tuned because there was a lot of interesting information on research. We'll talk a little bit about what's happening to the scientific community right now, which none of it's really that great. So sorry about that. But we'll talk about that and what might be coming next. So stay tuned for that.
Like and subscribe, and thanks for sticking with us, and we will see you in our next video.
Bye. Hi, welcome to Thursday's Child. I'm Sandy.
I'm Rick, and this is Maddie.
Hi.
Okay, wait.
All right.
What was I gonna say? Oh my God. Oh, I get it, it's hard. Okay, hi, I'm Maddie. I'm home, oh my God.
Shorthand. You have to fill in the blanks, dude.
Okay, back to you. Mommy! Laughing? Is she laughing at me? She's like crying.